imagine doing something special when someone does the exact same thing and gets more credit for it? Well, that's what happened to Claudette Colvin.
Claudette Colvin, a nurse's aide and civil rights movement activist, was born on September 5, 1939. She was the first one to challenge the Jim Crow laws in a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. The reason why she stood up to the laws was because she felt that history had her glued to her seat. That is why she could not get up from the seat when she was asked to.
Claudette Colvin's actions relate to the theme frontiers in history because her actions led to the desegregation of America. Even though Claudette Colvin was the first one to challenge the Jim Crow laws in 1955, she did not get as much credit for it as Rosa Parks did. The reasons why she did not become an influence was because she was a teenager, she became a convict after standing up to the laws, and because she did not have a good image of a colored person, so the civil rights leaders did not want to use her as an image for a change in society.
An outcome from what Claudette Colvin did in the bus in Montgomery, Alabama, was becoming a convict. After she refused to get up from her seat, 2 policemen dragged her off the bus, and she ended up being held in an adult cell even though she was 15 years old. She went to jail for 3 charges, but later they dropped 2 charges and 1 remained. The charge that remained was that she assaulted a policeman. Evidence that proves this claim is, on May 6, 1955, Colvin's case was moved to the Montgomery Circuit Court, where 2 of the 3 charges against her were dropped. But the charge of assaulting the arresting police officers remained. As you can see, Colvin fought for her rights, but she was not forgiven for 1 charge.
One of the reasons why Claudette Colvin is not known as well as Rosa Parks is because she didn't fit the requirements for the image of the boycotts and riots. Because she was too dark, she didn't have good hair, and she was a pregnant teenager. All these things were talked about and discussed with everyone involved in the Montgomery bus boycott. The reason why they said she was too dark was because they wanted someone lighter skinned to come off not as harsh, and they were thinking the public would accept the movement more if the girl on the cover was lighter skinned, which we think is not okay. Evidence to prove this claim is NAACP and all other black organizations felt Parks would be a better icon because she was an adult. They didn't think teenagers would be reliable. She also says Parks had the right hair and right look. Her skin texture was the kind that people associate with the middle class, said Colvin. She didn't fit that profile, talking about Rosa. Before Rosa Parks, there was Claudette Colvin. This evidence shows that she wasn't picked for the image because of multiple reasons, and it was discussed with members of the MBP and the NAACP.
Claudette Colvin became pregnant months after she refused to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Evidence that supports this claim is, and the fact that she was pregnant at the time by a married man by Black Past. This quote supports my claim because she got pregnant after the incident by a married man.
To restate everything that has been said so far, Claudette Colvin did not get as much recognition as Rosa Parks because she was a convict. She got 3 charges on her, but later went to court and got 2 of the 3 charges dropped. Secondly, she is not as well known because the NAACP didn't want to use her as the image because she didn't meet the requirements. Lastly, because she was a woman who got pregnant at a young age, months after the incident of her not giving up her seat for a white woman on a crowded bus, she wasn't known to the public because it was inappropriate for a teenager to be pregnant, and they didn't want her to be recognized for that. All these things were challenges she had to face, along with crossing the frontier from a segregated America to a desegregated America. That's why we think that it's important for Claudette Colvin to be known.
Claudette Colvin needs to be known now more than ever to help raise the spirits of young people today because of all of the violence towards African Americans. The police brutality of 2020 through 2023 are and were very high. And that's why we need more people like Claudette Colvin to show the teenagers of today that they do not have to be a certain age to make a difference in our lives today.
Now for some famous quotes by Claudette.
I just couldn't move. History had glued me to the seat. Claudette Colvin.
Back then, as a teenager, I kept thinking, why don't the adult around here just say something? Say it so they know we don't accept segregation. I knew then, and I know now, that when it comes to justice, there is no easy way to get it. You can't sugarcoat it. You just have to take a stand and say, this is not right. And I did. Claudette Colvin.
I wanted the young African American girls also on the bus to know what they had a right to be there because they had paid the fare just like the white passengers. Claudette Colvin.
Rosa Parks wasn't the first one to rebel against their segregated seats. I was the first. Claudette Colvin. Whenever people ask me, why didn't you get up when the bus driver asked you? I say it felt as though Harriet Tubman's hands were pushing me down on one shoulder, and Sojourner Truth's hands were pushing me down on the other shoulder. I felt inspired by these women because my teacher taught us about them in so much detail.